Welcome back to yet another edition of Dante's Discussion. That's right, I'm back. This time I'm gonna ask you a question, hopefully for the answering versus the questions portion. And of course, it is about Dark Souls 2 again. Who knew, right? Anyways, let's get down to the nitty gritty. I am just wondering what people think about this topic, but what do people think is the best? Number one, what do people think is the number one best weapon class? And now, of course, this might seem like an easy question. I think a lot of people think straight swords are probably the best weapon class, but that might be because the sun sword is pretty damn brutal itself as a weapon. But I think there might be some disagreement on this. At least for me, I don't think it's as clear-cut as a lot of people might think. Of course, there's great swords like the Lois Greatsword, but I would even venture to say that faster weapons usually beat great swords. So, I don't know. I think there's a this or that type of discussion that can happen with what weapon class is the best. Now, let me run through it real quick. I actually have a list of every weapon class and how many weapons are in each class. As you see, I got it written down here because that's how I do business. All right, so let's just go run down through them, what weapon classes there are and how many there are, because there are some classes that have very few weapons, if you will. So I'm excited about this, and I hope you are too. All right, here we go. Daggers, which I think are great weapons. Most daggers are at least decent, but there is one dagger that I think that rules them all. Daggers, there are 13 daggers in the game. Straight swords, of course, the sun sword, that's might be top dog in that category, although I think you can sub out for long sword, maybe even fume, depending on how you like your play style. There are 18 straight swords. Great swords, I believe great swords are top dog in, they have the most amount of weapons, and obviously Lois Greatsword is definitely up there as one of the best great swords, definitely, but they have 22. Ultra great swords, there are 14. A lot of people love the Crypt Black Sword. People love that damn thing. I think the great sword is actually pretty good because it's gigantic, so I think there might be hard to pick between those. If you're picking that class regardless. Curved great swords, I believe there is only curved swords, not great swords. Curved swords, there are 10. Red Rust Scimitar, I believe, is probably pretty up there. Ilium, Lois. Actually, there's a lot of good weapons in the curved great sword. Almost all of them are viable, I think, because they all have very similar movesets. Curved great swords, there are 4 of them. They're all pretty similar, but I might go with the dragon curved greatsword. I kind of like that. The damage of that thing is absolutely absurd, but the range on it is a little bit lacking. Katanas, there are only 8 katanas, and they've done this much with their counter damage. I mean, Chaos Blade, ridiculous counter damage, ridiculous just damage in general. For me personally, I don't think it's the best of the katanas just because of the moveset, but whatever, that's just me. Thrusting swords, going to some of my favorites here. Thrusting swords, of course, we got the Estoc Ice Rapier, just nasty little buggers of poking destruction. There's 8 of those. We have Axe, which axes are, I think, they all basically have the same moveset, and I think they're all pretty decent in my eyes. I think the Axe class might have the highest turnover rate, if you will. Like, if you had to pick one of each, maybe if I even tally up all my victories through all the axes I've had, they might be higher than all the others, percentage-wise. I don't know. There's 8 of those. Great Axe. Great Axe has some decent ones, and Great Axe has some really bad ones. There's 9 Great Axes. Hammers, oh my god. Hammers. I am not a fan of hammers. Okay, I really don't like hammers. I might even consider this one of, if not the worst class. There's 12 of these dumbass hammers. And, yeah, that's right. Handmaid's Ladle is one of them. Great hammers. The great hammers have a crazy roll attacks, obviously. I mean, I feel like a jerk only using the roll attack, but it's just so damn effective. And there are 17 great hammers. That's right. Spears. You almost can't go wrong with the spear. I mean, if you lose with the spear, you were either way too aggressive, or you played somebody who wait and see the whole time. They were in the wait and see tribe, and with spears, sometimes you can't get out of that. You just have to play a little bit more tricky. There are 14 spears. Halberds. I've had a new appreciation and love for halberds actually recently. Still, wait and see players just crush halberds. You almost can't get away from that. Wait and see players, and even if you're trying to spin to win, guess what? You're getting your ass parried. Climax, dead. There are 14 halberds. Reapers. Reapers not very good. Most Reapers are pretty terrible. Reapers, if you didn't know, is basically a scythe. But I would say the Scythe of Want, that's probably top dog in that category. I don't know. But there are 8 Reapers. Lances. I think Lances are fantastic and have just broken hitboxes. They're so good. They hit you from so far away. Sometimes they hit you from like 10 feet from left or right of you. It's ridiculous. There are 5 Lances. Is there a top dog there? I mean, there's the Chariot Lance, which does bleed. But then there's... I don't know. I don't think there's a top one there. I think each one is viable in their own right. I even think the Chariot Lance is viable because bleed really isn't effective in this game. But because the Chariot Lance really... anytime you're going to hit somebody, it's most likely going to do more than one hit. You're probably better off with that, and maybe it can help you, especially if you combo it. I don't know. There are 5 lances. Twin blades. There are 6 twin blades. Red rust. Wind blade, if you will. I don't even think any of the others can really compete. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, put in the comments below if you think so. Whips, I actually had to correct myself due to a comment, but I didn't realize there were just whip. Whip is just a weapon, and you have to buy it because I don't know what was wrong with me. I just didn't get it, but it's pretty awesome. I had to add another weapon to my list to do. Whip. Whips, I think the bloodied whip has the highest range, but the old whip has the highest damage. So I guess it depends on what you prefer in that aspect. I actually don't think whips are that terrible. They are pretty terrible to wait and see players because they are slightly slow, and it's a little difficult to trick people into getting hit. And even when they do get hit, they're not going to get hit again because then they start to realize, oh, that's the range or quickness of this weapon. And I don't know, it's a little tough with whips. Claws, there are 4 claws. I don't know, probably the malformed. I'm guessing the malformed claws are probably top, not positive. And there are 2 fists. They got the what? The Cestus or Kestis and Bone Fist. They're decently hard to use, actually. Bone Fist, I think, has a high skill cap. Not many people use that weapon effectively. I've seen that comboed left hand or right hand, trolled on the bridge, obviously. But anyways, the question is, I just wanted to run down how many are in each class, make you actually think, oh, there might be a lot more weapons than you think. And I think there could be some interesting debate on what people think is the best weapon class and why. Like, why is this the best weapon class? I do think people are probably going to go with straight swords as an overall, you know, not too slow. Well, it's pretty fast, not too powerful, but, you know, good enough. 2 hits is, you know, better than 1 usually. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see the discussion. Put it in the comments below. See a video in 2 weeks. And like, comment, and subscribe. And I will be back.